Hey, Dean here in the Secret Underground Lair. Welcome back. So I'm looking at automating the Worktable Sawmill and finding a way to move it down the rails automatically or motor driven, and looking at the option of using kind of a capstan winch style. So I fashioned this little spool, just seeing if this would work, and well, no, it didn't work at all. The intention being the rope comes in here, winds around, and comes out here. And what I observe happening is that the rope comes in here and just stays here and kind of keeps piling up and then moves over a little bit, and then it just gets tangled up. It's useless. The movement, the capstan kind of movement of the rope didn't work at all with this. So I thought, well, let me try to 3D print a bollard. So I did this little guy here, and it has a bit of a tapered edge to it, as you can see, and a little bit of a radius at the base where it meets the, a little bit of a radius in here. And I thought, well, maybe that'll work a little bit better. So I tried this, and what I found happening is the rope again would just kind of keep binding up here and not move down the shaft. So imagine it sitting kind of like that on the spool, and I'm expecting the rope to kind of move down here and then come off here, but it just kept bunching up right on this side. So that didn't work either. So I thought, well, maybe the problem is that slope is too steep. Maybe I should make that more of an angle. So another attempt, version 2. So this has a more gentle slope on it. Well, you know, it's more of an angle this way. And I thought that might work a little bit better, and I tried it, and it did work just slightly better, but not much. So I thought, what's wrong here? And looking back at other bollards on Capstan Winches online, just kind of watching a number of YouTube videos, although I couldn't find any technical description of the geometry of this bollard or mechanics of how that works. So I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I didn't see it, so I just kind of worked on what I saw. And what I did observe is that the radius at the bottom here needs to be bigger, or on winches that I saw certainly was bigger than what I have there. So I made a version 3. And version 3 looks like this. So you can see I have a much bigger radius happening there. And again, a pretty shallow angle, a little bit shallower angle here. And you know what? This actually works. I've just moved that a little bit out of the way so you could see it. But if I adjust this back, and I'll give this a crank, you can see there's a little bit of bunching there, but the rope actually does move along that bollard. So mechanically, I've got something that actually works. Well, I've got a problem though on how to reverse it. So I'm going to reprint this guy, but I'm going to make another flange on this side, same as that one, so that as it's reversed, it'll kind of keep this incoming rope here now, on this way, the incoming over here. But the incoming rope on this side won't get bunched up. It'll kind of keep everything over there. So I'm going to try that, see if that'll kind of keep the rope from bunching up on this side as I rewind it. You can see what happens here. The rope is kind of creeping over to the right side. And as I keep going, now it's just starting to bunch up and gets tangled and we have a disaster on our hands. So by creating this flange over here, I should be able to solve that problem. Now, what happens to the rope when it comes off here? So I've just set up some temporary pulleys here. These are actually just rollers off a bed frame. Well, I happen to have some bed rails and it came with rollers, so why not use them? But this is just a temporary setup, used as pulleys. The other one goes over to that side and then back over to the carriage on that side. This is just temporary stuff just to help me understand and figure out the mechanisms. But the bottom line is that bollard seems to work. Challenge that I do see here is that one turn of that bollard will move the carriage about 2 inches. And that's going to move this thing pretty fast if I'm using that wiper motor. So I happen to have, courtesy of my brother-in-law, power ratchet. It's an old Makita. It uses a NiCad battery, but I'm thinking I would just replace that battery with a 2 amp supply at 9.6 volts, I think is what this puts out. 9.6 volt. So I'll just get a power supply that can run there, or maybe even make it a variable power supply to control the speed of that, and somehow attach that to here, or perhaps put the ratchet onto this side, and then that would let me move probably much slower with the ratchet than the wiper motor. But I'm going to measure the speed of this, figure out how fast it really goes. I just have to charge the battery first, so that's currently charging. So these are the experiments that I've got in terms of automating the Worktable Sawmill. I still have not discounted the notion of threaded rod, and I am thinking that perhaps this would work well with the threaded rod as well. But I want to pursue this a little bit further because this mechanism is going to be a little bit simpler than using the threaded rod on both sides of the carriage. Anyway, that's a quick little update on the automation part of this project. So stick around for the next video. I'll give you more updates as they come.